Certina are one of those brands that are relatively unknown here in the United States. And there are a few good reasons for that. However, the major reason is because they don't have any authorized dealers selling their watches as new here in the US. There are one or two. However, you are far better off going to the gray market or the used market to buy one if you are interested, here in the US at least. So that's what I did. I went to the gray market. I bought this watch. This is a Certina DS Action GMT with the Powermatic 80 GMT movement. It comes in an outer cardboard box. Inner box is a wood box. It's a dark wood boxed matte finish. It says Certina on it. It's actually pretty nice, a little bit nicer than what you get from maybe Hamilton, definitely nicer than what you get from Tissot. You get a booklet in here. It's just warranty information and operation manual, and then you get a hang tag, a little bit of information on there as well. You get the serial number. It tells you that it's a Powermatic 80 GMT, which is pretty cool. And then, of course, here is the watch. Now, this was a new watch. Like I said, I got it brand new. It didn't have all the stickers on it, but it was new in the box, unworn. It came with all the links and in perfect condition. So this is a Coke setup. They make it in a Pepsi setup, I believe, as well, with a blue dial. They make it in a few different versions that are sort of PVD coated and have some weird colors to them as well, a brown and a green version. The prices range from around $950 on a strap to around $1,100 on the bracelet. And this one I actually paid $599 for. So that's what it was being sold for. That's what I paid. I think that's a really good price. As I mentioned, this is a Coke setup. So you have a black dial. You have a black sort of chapter ring / bezel. It's a 24-hour scale that goes all the way around. It's in black and red. Also, the minute track is a part of that sort of bezel area. Now, this is one of the design cues I was a little bit on the fence about. I wish this was a rotating bezel. However, that's not what they did. You do get 200 meters of water resistance, which actually impresses me, but I do wish you got a rotating bezel here. That would have been cool. You do get a screwed-in crown and a screwed-in case back. You can see the Powermatic 80 from the back. We'll get back to that in a second. One of the other design cues that I was a little bit on the fence about, but I actually really like, is the bracelet. It's a multi-link bracelet. It has polishing down the middle on those two sort of lines of links. They're individual solid links. You do have a butterfly clasp on here. It's very solid, works really nice, and it is signed Certina. Very, very nice actually, and very comfortable. It sort of reminds me of a Jubilee, but obviously a little bit, different styling here. I think they did a really good job with it. And I was also on the fence about the size. So this is a 43 millimeter watch, but it actually wears very nice on my 7.5 inch wrist. We'll go back to that in just a second. Also, pleasantly surprised by the lume on this watch and the AR coating. You can see the AR coating is excellent. In my studio lights, you're not seeing a lot of reflection, almost nothing really. Again, a Swatch product, really good. And then the lume is actually really good on this watch, much better than I was expecting. You do get applied indices, and those are filled with superluminova, which is great. You get sort of a fence post minute hand, and then an hour hand, which is sort of an arrow, a broad arrow hour hand. And then you have a white and red second hand with a lollipop. And then you have a GMT hand that is in red, pointing directly to the hour markers. Really nice. The dial, like I said, is a matte black. It says Certina, the logo there at the top, below the 12 o'clock index. Above the 6 o'clock index, there's a little bit too much writing for me. It does say DS Action. It says Powermatic 80 GMT. I don't know why they did that. And then it gives you the depth rating. So there's a lot. There's 3 lines of text. I wish they narrowed that down a little bit, especially that Powermatic 80. I don't need that on the front. They should put it on the back. It even says it's a GMT. I don't need it. And then you have a date window there at the 3 o'clock. It's being covered up by the minute hand right now. It sort of replaces one of the indices there, the 3 o'clock indice. It doesn't do a really good job of it. So I wish this was a dateless watch. I always say that. It's obviously a non-color matched date wheel. But you could see it's not that good. It doesn't look that balanced when you're comparing it to the index at the 9 o'clock, in my opinion. But again, I don't really like dates, so I don't think this one works all that well. This is a GMT. This is a Traveler's GMT. So when you want to change the GMT time. The actual local hour is what moves, not that GMT hand. Office GMTs are ones where when you actually move the in the second position, it's the GMT hand that will move. Some people refer to that as, refer to this as a true GMT. I don't really buy into that. This is a traveler's GMT. Office GMTs are office GMTs. They're both GMTs and work really well. Just depends on what you like. This is more in line with what Rolex do. Basically Rolex operate. The actual local hour hand is what jumps. So a lot of people refer to them as true GMTs. I actually used to do that, and I'm going to stop doing it because technically both are true GMTs. One is a traveler's and one is an office GMT. I more agree with that sort of wording. Anyway, measurements on here. This is a 43 millimeter watch, and the lug to lug is over 50 millimeters. So you would think it wears very large, and I'll show you that on my wrist in just a second. But let's do quick measurements. So as I mentioned, over 52 millimeter lug width, or I think it's 50 meters. Nope, it's 52 millimeters at the lugs, and then it's like 52. No, it's exactly 52 at the bracelet. So you do get female end length, so it does go straight down. So that's pretty good. Not a thick watch. You get a sapphire crystal, of course, 12.7 millimeters, lots of AR coating on there. And then, of course, the crown, actually a sizable crown at 7.3 millimeters. And then, as I mentioned, the actual case diameter is, if you catch those crown guards, a little bit bigger. It's around 43 millimeters, 43.4. I've measured it a few different times. I've gotten a little bit over 43 millimeters. It does wear like a 43 millimeter watch. So I would say it's around 43 and a half, maybe 43.4 millimeters. So it does wear big, and we'll throw it on my wrist in just a second, but it doesn't wear huge. It doesn't wear like a 44 millimeter watch at all. I think it wears more like a 42 millimeter in my opinion, but again, it's only a millimeter, so it's really not that big of a difference. And I believe this gets 21 millimeter lug width. So that is very annoying. One of my pet peeves, if you watch that video that I recently did, it is one of my pet peeves, and that's something that the Swatch Group love to do. I don't know why. It is really annoying. Very quickly, let me throw it on my wrist, and I'll show you the watch that I'm actually wearing. Today, I am wearing my Vicentera. This has that miniature globe in it. I just recently did a video about this. Really cool, independent Swiss watch brand. Makes some pretty incredibly cool watches. So here is the DS action on my 7.5 inch wrist. And as I mentioned, it doesn't wear small. It does wear on the larger side. You're talking about a 43 plus millimeter watch. It definitely wears maybe like a 42, maybe like a 43 on my wrist. Tell me what you guys think. Is it too big? I like it. I wish that they would make some more watches in the Swatch Group that were a little bit smaller, and they can even go larger as well. I want them to cover the spectrum of wrists. That's something that they're very bad at doing. They don't make a 38, a 40, and a 42. They only make a 43. So it doesn't make any sense. If they made this in a 40 and a 44, that would make a lot more sense to me. So then someone who wants a 44 millimeter or a 43 millimeter watch would probably go for that 44, and someone who wants a 38 would maybe consider getting the 40, a 41, something like that. That's all I'm saying. So I just wish that they were a little bit smarter about it and looked at it that way. I think they would fit more wrists that way, but that's just me. I'll do a Loom Shot. So like I said, I paid $599 for this watch. It does get the Powermatic 80, and it is a traveler's GMT. You could see the Powermatic 80 from the back. You get a screwed-in crown, screwed-in case back, 200 meters of water resistance. And as I said, the bracelet, everything on here is very solid. It feels like a very well-made watch, a very high-quality watch, and it's very nicely finished. You have brushing, you have a thick line of polishing on the case. The bezel is fully polished, just really nice. And the bracelet, like I said, very solid links, and you can see on my wrist, it looks good, and it's very comfortable. It's actually a very comfortable watch, and it feels a little bit smaller than its specs on my wrist. It's the only way I could explain it, and I think it works well. I don't know if the Mito Ocean Star GMT wears larger. It looks like it wears larger than every single photo that I have seen. It looks like it wears larger than its 44 millimeters. This sort of wears a little bit smaller than its 43 millimeters. That's the only way I could put it. Anyway, really quickly, let's do a Loom Shot and then wrap up the video. So there you have it. The Loom isn't incredible, but it's a lot better than some of the other Swatch Group products that I have seen, specifically Mito. It's more in line with the new Tissot that I reviewed here on the channel, the Tissot C-Star 1000, the upgraded version. They upgraded the Loom on that watch. This has somewhat better Loom, sort of like that watch, like that Tissot, which is great. You even get Loom on the GMT hand, Loom on the little lollipop of the second hand, and it's pretty bright. It's not that liberally applied, but it's definitely a lot better than I have seen, like I said, from a lot of watches from the Swatch Group. Anyway, $599 is what I paid. I think this retails for $1,050, $1,100, somewhere in that range. On the bracelet, you can get it cheaper if you get it on a strap. All in all, I think it's worth it at that price. I definitely think it's worth it at this price. It's a good-looking travel watch. You could really go anywhere and do anything with this watch. 200 meters of water-resistant sapphire crystal. Really nice bracelet on it. All in all, I am very impressed with the watch. I had some sort of concerns about the designs. The bezel, obviously, there's really nothing I can do about that. That is something that still sort of concerns me to this day about the design. Other than that, the bracelet I really do like. Something I was actually very concerned about, and I think the bracelet looks good now. Anyway, tell me what you guys think in the comments below. I want to hear from you guys. Please tell me what you think of this watch. What do you think of what the Swatch Group is doing with these watches? Am I right about the sizes? I think I am. Even though I can wear a watch like this, I want to at least have the option to buy it in a different size. And I think they should do that. They can, make them in a smaller size and a larger size for people with larger wrists and smaller wrists, or people who just want something in the middle. It makes a lot more sense to me. Anyway, tell me what you guys think in the comments below. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, hit that bell icon. It is super helpful for the channel, and I very much appreciate it. Please follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is WatchChrisBlog, all one word. I have some links in the description. Those links are to Amazon. If you click those links and buy anything, it helps support the channel. It doesn't cost you anything extra. However, I very much appreciate it. Anyway, thank you for logging on. I'll catch you guys in the next video.